I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, our servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Councilor, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Councilor Crowe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of Mac Bennett. He was a Ward 1 resident who passed away on Veterans Day in true Mac fashion. He was a veteran himself. He was a Malden police officer, and then he was a Malden firefighter where he was there for 36 years. So he retired as a firefighter, but he was really, he was a great person to have to banter with, to have some conversations with. He is the father-in-law of Erin Bennett, who is a literacy coach in the Malden Public Schools, the father-in-law of Rich Tilley, who is retired from the Board of Health, and the father-in-law of HR Director Anthony Ciccarelli.
Thank you. Seeing we have a full house, which is always good from the council's perspective, just want to remind everybody, if you just silence your phones, both for the council's benefit and certainly your own, much appreciated. Thank you. Yep. Do you have public comment? Okay. There is no public comment. We do have some letters. So let's do the roll call.
Cologne Hayes. Here. Condon.
Here.
Crow. Here. Linehan. McDonald. Here. Murphy. Here. O'Malley. Here. Sika. Here. Simonelli. Winslow. Spatafora.
Spatafora here. First order of business.
I do have 4 letters for public comment. Reading the record.
Oh, let me just do it when you're getting ready. Under the provisions of open media law, for those in attendance, please be informed that UMA Urban Media Arts, which is formerly Malden Access TV, will be recording this evening's event. So just be aware there will be audio and video recording this meeting. And I don't see anybody else recording the meeting, so I just wanted to say that statement.
First letter reads, Dear Council President of Malden City Council, my name is Tom Tamagner, and I'm a longtime homeowner, over 26 years at 39 Wade Street, a direct abutter of the property at 926 Eastern Ave that was formerly proposed for a marijuana dispensary. I was the closest abutter to that property at 60 feet away inside the 75-foot current buffer zone required by ordinance. I am writing because I cannot attend tonight's meeting to oppose the changes proposed to the current marijuana buffer zones on your agenda, specifically CCP 315-2022, as it pertains to buffer zones to amend use regulations for marijuana establishments. When Malden enacted the ordinance for marijuana facilities, I did not oppose, although I know many people did. I was disappointed when the City Council reduced the recommended buffer zones from houses from 150 feet to 75 feet when they adopted the ordinances, but was assured at the time that my home and those of many of my neighbors along Wade Street would not be impacted because our houses were inside 75 feet of what was redlined in the ordinance along Eastern Ave. Fast forward to January 2022, and I received a notice that not only was there a proposal to put a dispensary where they could sell marijuana 60 feet from my home, but there was also going to be a grow facility where they would be growing marijuana. There was no doubt having such a facility abutting my home will create a situation where the future resale value will decline for numerous reasons. Simply put, any reasonable person knows it will reduce the number of people willing to buy it. Further, as a lifelong resident, I do not want to move. The appeal board, after hearing and listening to the pros and cons of the situation, did what was best and rejected the appeal for a variance for buffer zone relief. I had written a letter at the time, again, as the homeowner closest to the property. After I was told that when an appeal was rejected, the applicant could come back for at least couldn't come back for at least 2 years, as that was the law. Well, now I've learned somehow a change to the buffer zone is being requested by some on the City Council to assist this applicant to receive that variance, which has already been rejected. And although some may deny it's for that reason, the proof when an ad was already run in the local newspaper in August for a public hearing on that exact facility again, without mentioning the exact petitioner, makes that pretty clear. As I cannot come to tonight's meeting, I'm asking the proposed changes be rejected, particularly taking the Appeals Board authority to rule on buffer zones away. The Appeals Board is set up to deal with such issues, such as Planning Board is set up to provide most special permits. In fact, not sure why the Planning Board is not the approval of special permits for marijuana establishments to begin with. The fact that nobody got specific notice on the meeting held by Council Windsor on August 31st, which took place at the Malden Police Station, that it was actually the community outreach meeting by Benevolent Botanicals to discuss their potential dispensary that was previously rejected by the appeal boards and was in litigation. Seems like the City Council must know or are counting on what the outcome is going to be where I sit. Isn't that the cart before the horse? There are many promises being made about the facility, traffic change, cleaning up, etc. However, anyone who knows anything about marijuana understands that a grow facility doesn't belong 65 feet from a home, let alone 70 feet, and no matter what promises are made, odor is going to be an ongoing problem as well as serious potential for break-ins and robberies. And this is not an issue about 926 Eastern Ave alone, but one that will have the reach and impacts going forward. As we all know, what an exception is made, others certainly will occur. Clearly, the Appeals Board understood this, and it's clear the Planning Board, with a unanimous vote last week, rejecting a change to the buffer zone appeals process, thinks taking away the Appeal Board authority on determining variances would be a mistake. I respectfully ask you to consider whether you would want this 60 feet from your home, no matter where you lived, and then no matter how many people speak in favor. Understand, just because I am only one person, one family, should I not be afforded the respect along with the unsuspecting people who have homes within 75 feet across the city in the future? I will be the person impacted today. Who will it be tomorrow? I respectfully request you reject the buffer zone reductions. I have testified at each meeting, openly noticed either in person or by new letter. At the Appeal Board meeting in January, many people spoke. The vast majority were not from Ward 6, and many from outside of Malden, and none who live within 1,000 feet of location, let alone 60 feet. Quite frankly, this is tiring as a citizen and a homeowner when the existing rules were and are very close to applying to variances and when it happens to be rejected. There's no compelling reason to make this ordinance change. The buffer zones variance requested when there are plenty of locations for marijuana facilities to locate, as 3 have already been approved, including a social equity petition, and many locations still over 75 feet from anyone's home are still available. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thomas DeMagna. Dear members of the Malden City Council, the Friends of the Malden River wholeheartedly support the adoption of version number 4 of the City of Malden Wetlands Protection Ordinance that is critical to the ongoing protection of the waterways of Malden. We look forward to the City Council vote to ordain Section 10.20 related wetlands protections to be added to the ordinance of the City of Malden during the Council meeting of November 5th. Although we are celebrating the success of the Clean Water Act of 1972, the work is not done. Malden River was once a tidal and marshy river that supported a biodiverse ecosystem. With the advance of farming and then industry, the wetlands were filled in and used as dumping grounds and transportation. Due to the Clean Water Act, municipalities and organizations learned and worked together to help restore our nation's waterways, including urban waters. The Malden River is healing. Through the efforts of our community and the powers of nature, the Malden River is deemed safe for boating and recreation on the surface. We have lots of work in front of us to restore the thriving ecosystem. This extension of the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commission to include the 25-foot riverfront area, including within 25 feet at the top of the unlined canal in our city of Malden, is critical for the health of the Malden River, the health of Malden River's residents, and our struggling environment. Sincerely, Karen Buck, President of Friends of the Malden River, 323 Forest Street. Dear Council President Spatafora, Malden City Council, my name is Anne Marie DiGiovanni, and I'm a longtime homeowner of and resident of 59-61 Waite Street a property approximately 300 to 350 feet from 926 Eastern Ave, a few houses down that was formerly proposed for a marijuana dispensary. I'm writing to oppose the changes proposed to the current marijuana buffer zones and various processes on your agenda tonight, specifically paper CCP 315, 2022, as it relates to buffer zones to amend use regulations for marijuana establishments. After the city passed the marijuana ordinance a few years back, my neighborhood was assured that we did not have to worry about these facilities encroaching on our properties, as there was a 75-foot ordinance, and thus Eastern Ave in our area was not zoned for it. After the appeals board hearing in January, when the variance to the buffer zone was rejected, I thought the issue was dead, but recently found out that indeed some of the city council are now trying to change the ordinance to allow the city council to take the appeal board's authority from them and then allow the rejected petitioner come forward in order to provide them a variance. This seems like double jeopardy for the homeowners in our neighborhood and does not seem wise to change ordinances and variance granting ability because of one entity. As I am a real estate professional, I also caution that to put such a facility, which includes growing and manufacturing of marijuana so close to homes, will limit the resale values of all the homes, given that many people who would never choose to live near a marijuana establishment of any kind, let alone a growing and manufacturing facility within a few feet from one's home. I hope that you will reject this change by the City Council for the greater good of the neighborhood and city, as there are certainly many more appropriate places less impactful to the citizens, and there is no need to reduce or allow the granting of variances to be moved from the appropriate authority of the Board of Appeals. I think the fact that your planning board, which recommended 9-0 rejection of this change, would weigh heavily in your decision in this matter. Thank you for your consideration. And finally, dear Council President Spatafora and Malden City Council, good evening. I'm writing to oppose the changing of the city ordinance to transfer the authority to grant variances for marijuana establishments from the Board of Appeals to the Malden City Council, specifically when it comes to the change for buffer zones proposed by CCP 315, 2022. The reason are as follows. Under city ordinance, the Malden Appeal Board is deemed by the city in its ordinances today and on the website under its current description as the body that hears and determines appeals from the building inspector, variances from commercial and residential properties, and special permits in accordance with the Malden zoning ordinance in Mass General Laws, Chapter 48. Further, under Mass General Laws, Section 14, a Board of Appeals shall have the following powers. 1, to hear and decide appeals. 2, to hear and decide applications for special permits upon which the board is empowered to act and other said ordinances or bylaws. And 3, to hear and decide petitions for variances, as set forth in Section 10. It seems clear that the only reason the paper is actually in front of the City Council is because one proposed marijuana establishment that wished to locate at 926 Eastern Ave, Malden, was rejected by the Malden Appeals Board for a variance. That proposed establishment would not only sell marijuana, but also proposed to grow and manufacture marijuana at a facility that was inside the minimum 75-foot buffer zone setback from homes on Waite Street in Ward 6, Precinct 2. Please consider when making your decision that Ward 6 Precinct 2 was one of the few precincts in the city that had less than 50% of the residents voted no legalized marijuana, let alone allow them to locate within 75 feet from homes. The party that was rejected has since challenged the appeal board decision in court and lost. In that case, when a judge ruled on August 31st, 2022, that the appeal board had followed the proper procedures and was within their right to deny the variance. The party continues to sue the city under what grounds, I'm not sure, but it does seem strange that certain councils are working with that petition to reverse that decision by changing the ordinance while the city is still being sued. Nothing I can recall ever seeing in my memory of the City Council. Please also consider that popularity of the proposal, nor the power of an applicant, is a factor that is weighed by the appeals board, but in fact the appeals board exists often to protect an individual abutting property owner, ensuring their rights and equally protected from a non-impacted majority. I also ask that you consider that there are many of us who would want a marijuana dispensary, grow and manufacturing facility under 75 feet from our home. It seems unlikely. I think the debate to create the ordinance was a long one. In the last few months of that debate in 2018, right up until the last night of adoption, focused on the right size of buffer zones. In changing the legal process to approve variances of said buffer zones and stripping the appeal board of its authority over variances something the council should do? Is it something the council should do? Should it do so when claims are made that there are not enough parcels where marijuana can locate when an entire overlay district set aside for marijuana establishments is still available for locating an establishment, or when there are others considered for other locations throughout the city right now, and legally 3 have been approved and only 4 must be by Massachusetts law? Another claim you are likely to hear that a majority of the people that spoke at the appeal board and participated in these hearings spoke or wrote in favor of the proposal at 926 Eastern Ave. What is true is the vast majority do not live in Ward 6. Most from Malden who have spoken or wrote do not live in the ward where a marijuana facility can even be located, and many at the appeals hearing do not even live in Malden, and none of those in favor in all previous meetings up until tonight were direct abutters or live within 1,000 feet of the proposed facility. In fact, the person who lives closest to the proposed facility spoke or wrote against providing a variance at every legal posted hearing for the proposal since last January. Finally, the idea that Malden is more restrictive on buffer zones in marijuana is simply untrue. Melrose has only one area where marijuana can be zoned in its entire 4 square miles. That's on Route 99, nowhere near any homes. Medford establishments can only be located on an area on Riverside Ave and Mystic Ave in a city that has 60% more land area and almost as many people. Everett, Revere, and Stoneham are budding communities, banned it. And Quincy, a similar city in terms of diversity and in terms of high density with tea shops, etc., has a buffer zone of 1,500 feet from residents and constrained it to 2 areas in the city. Quincy and Medford did not approve their first recreational marijuana establishment until 2022, so the claim that Malden is moving too slow is also baseless. In closing, I hope the City Council does not remove the approval of variance requests on buffer zones on any other items from the appeals board in the body who sets up handle variance requests for all such items except in the most special situations, which marijuana certainly rises to that. The Malden Planning Board, in its unanimous vote to reject the change to strip the appeals board of its authority on this issue, I hope you will follow. Thank you for consideration. Neil Kinnon, 11 Spruce Street.
Want to take a minute? That was a long letter.
We had water.
Oof. Lisa, can you get the clerk of water, please? Oof. That was crazy. All right. I'm going to get you a water, clerk.
We can,
I believe we got the approval of the minutes.
paper 436-22, minutes of the meeting on November 1st, 2020.
I didn't see any emails, oh. Council McDonald, give me 1 second. There you go.
I sent a very late breaking email, but I'd like to request that under personal privilege on November 1, it be noted that I shared that the comment period for Malden Community Electricity was open until November 18th. Greg, I sent you an email with the language, but it's important for our application to demonstrate that we announced that at a public meeting.
Okay, did you send it today?
I just sent it.
Okay, so I don't have it. I'll make the change tomorrow.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So we just gotta, it's fine, just reflect in the notes, right?
Yeah, just make sure
Just
that's,
so that validates that you actually did the communication,
that's
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's an amendment. We'll just make sure it gets amended. So based on Councilor McDonald's amendment, which you will share with the clerk, seconded by Councilor Winslow. Any discussion on the approval for the minutes of November 1st? Okay, and Councilor McDonald's motion to approve with the amended, seconded by Councilor Winslow. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Minutes for November 1st, as amended, approved. Next order of business.
Get some more reading.
You can do them all.
Do them all.
Are these all renewals?
They're all getting referred to.
Okay, so we're gonna read these all at once. I wish we had that
Yep.
new rule book ready to
Consent
go.
agenda.
Yeah, I know. All right, for the audience, there is a litany of license applications, annual renewals, anything from extended hours to Class 2 dealer's license to amusement machines. We're going to refer them to ordinance where they get reviewed, license, excuse me, thank you, license, and then they pay their fee for the year, and then we vote them out in the subsequent meeting for approval for next year. So we're just going to read these all at once for those either sitting here or at home.
This is paper 437-22 petition, amusement machines lodge 1910 Loyal Order of the Moose at 562 Broadway. It's a renewal, 1 machine. Paper 438-22, amusement machine Italian American War Vets, post 16 of 40 Oakland Street, 4 machines. It's a renewal. Paper 439-22, Amusement Machine Town Line 10-Pin Corp., DBA Town Line Luxury Lanes of 665 Broadway, 25 machines, it's a renewal. Paper 440-22, Amusement Machine GLS Associates, Inc. of 50 Holden Street, 6 machines, it's a renewal. Paper 441-22, Class 2 dealer license for AGM Auto Sales, Inc. of 160 Eastern Ave, renewal, 24 cars. Paper 442-22, Class 2 license for Maxima Auto Sales Corp. of 105 Broadway, renewal, 34 cars. Paper 443-22, GP Motorcycle Supply of 420 Broadway, renewal, 4 motorcycles. 444-22, Class 2 for Broadway Auto Sales at 628 Broadway, renewal, 8 cars. Paper 445-22, Class 2 license for John's Service of 200 Beach Street, renewal, 15 cars. Paper 446-22, license for Richard Motor Cars, Inc. of 672 Broadway, renewal, 80 cars. Paper 447-22, Class 2 license for River Auto Sales, Inc., 77 Eastern Ave, renewal, 21 cars. Paper 448-22, extended hours license, Maya Donuts LLC, DBA Dunkin's of 200 Commercial Street, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days, it's renewal. Paper 449-22, petition, extended hour license, CMB Medeiros, Inc., DBA Dunkin's of 57 Eastern Ave, 24 hours, 7 days, it's a renewal. Paper 450-22, extended hour license, Ayers and Alina Donuts, DBA Dunkin's of 424 Main Street, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days, it's a renewal. And paper 451-22, extended hours license, Honeydew Donuts, 691 Eastern Ave, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days, it's a renewal.
Any questions? Hopefully not. Oh, I'm sorry,
Refer
Michael.
license.
On Councilor Seeker's motion to refer the petitions to license, seconded by Councilor Condon. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. All those petition for renewals will be referred to licensing. Next order of business.
Paper 452-20 order that the City Council reschedule the Committee of the Whole and committee meetings originally arranged for November 22nd to November 21st, with meetings to begin at their normally expected times. The rescheduling is to encourage councilors in the Malden community as a whole to show their Malden pride by attending the nation's longest continuously held football rivalry, with the 135th playing of the Malden versus Medford High School Thanksgiving Day game. It's going to be held at Fenway Park on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022 at 7:30 p.m.
Councilor Seeker for the discussion. Councilor Seeker.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to put this resolve on the agenda this evening in hopes that we could all attend the Thanksgiving Day parade, football game next week. I know that it's a tradition with my family and I to go every Thanksgiving morning, so this year we won't be going on Thanksgiving, but hopefully we'll be going next Tuesday. We are not canceling next week's meeting. I just want to be clear on that. We're just requesting that it be held on Monday evening instead of Tuesday evening. And I think it's only a committee meeting anyway, so we shouldn't have anything much on the agenda for the committee of the whole, but we would have committee meetings on Monday if we needed to. So I'm hoping that I have everybody's support and we can all go and watch the football game next Tuesday at Fenway Park.
Discussion on the resolve, councilors? Councilor O'Malley.
Unless there's any objection, I would second the motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so on Councilor Seeker's resolve, seconded by Councilor O'Malley, to change the meeting from next November 22nd, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. to rescheduling that to the 21st, which is the Monday. Say that again? Oh, it is an order. I'm sorry. I said resolve. It's the order. Excuse me. On Councilor Seeker's order. Thank you, Councilor Condon. Seconded by Councilor O'Malley to schedule the November 22nd committee meeting to the 21st of November. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. That's right. Yeah, so just, I'll remind you again, but if anybody, which we hope, we have committee meetings, because I know there's a lot in ordinance, Councilor Crowe. We have to have that tomorrow. We'd like to have it tomorrow morning. If anybody wants a committee meeting next week, by tomorrow because of the holiday, and it throws off the schedule, so the clerk's office, and I believe
Post it tomorrow.
we're gonna post it tomorrow. There's some people that are taking a little early vacation too, I think.
Oh, that's the following.
The following week. So we got 2 weeks, we gotta be early, right?
Because the meeting's on a Monday, so you lose
lose-
the Thursday, so you have to. do
Correct.
everything
And then the
on
following
Wednesday.
week is Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
the same thing. So we have to just be a little bit more diligent if anybody wants to schedule any meetings, or put any topics on the actual council agenda, just as an FYI. It's that time of year when holidays throw off, the timetables. Thank you for reminding me, clerk. Next order of business.
Paper 453-22, resolved, the Malden City Council condemns rising anti-Semitism, whereas the Jewish American experience is a story of faith, fortitude, and progress, and is connected to key tenets of American identity, and generations of Jewish immigrants have come to this nation fleeing oppression, discrimination, and persecution in search of a better life for themselves and their children, and whereas Jewish Americans who have created lives in our nation and in our Malden community for themselves and their families have played indispensable roles in our nation and city's civic and community life, have made invaluable contributions to our nation and city through their leadership and achievements, and have been integral contributions to our collective struggles for a more just and fair society. And whereas the city of Malden historically provided a welcoming home for Jewish immigrants from Lithuania and other European nations who made significant contributions to our urban fabric, from Suffolk Square to Faulkner to the West End, and to this day aspires to be welcoming not only for the Jewish community, but to all. And whereas on August 21st, 1790, President George Washington sent a letter to the Hebrew congregation of Newport, Rhode Island, expressing that the newly formed United States would be a nation that gives to bigotry no sanction, and persecution no assistance, and that the Jewish people should dwell in this land and continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of other inhabitants, and there shall be no one to make them afraid. And whereas anti-Semitism is an insidious form of prejudice stretching back millennial that attacks the humanity of the Jewish people and has led to violence, destruction, and lives of communities and genocide. And whereas over the past decade, Holocaust distortion and denial has grown in intensity, and there is a documented dangerous rise of anti-Semitism, both verbal and violent globally and in the United States, leaving many Jews increasingly unsafe in public places and Jewish houses of worship. Now therefore be it resolved that the Malden City Council, 1, calls on elected officials, faith leaders, and community leaders to use their voice to condemn and combat any and all manifestations of anti-Semitism, and 2, calls on elected officials to condemn and combat any and all denials and distractions of the Holocaust, and to promote Holocaust education and anti-Semitism awareness.
Councilor Karen Cologne Hayes for the paper.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for reading that, and thank you for everyone who signed on. I think all of our council signed on as sponsors, so I just really appreciate that. A few residents reached out to me about the rising of anti-Semitism, and also just locally, I think there was an incident in our city, like bordering us, and so they reached out to see if there was something we could do, so we talked about it. It was a group effort of, I think a resolve would be the best way to go, so I want to just reach out just to say thank you to Fern Remedy Brown, Lori Ardai. They reached out, Susie Eckert, Susan Lawrence, and actually Tina Weldi helped us, and Peggy Schuker from the, she's the deputy of the regional director of the Anti-Defamation League of New England. We sent it over to her, and she wanted to enthusiastically thank the council for signing on to this and for writing such a thoughtful statement. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor, any discussion? Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, I just want to thank Councilor Hayes for taking the lead on this. And yeah, I mean, the Jewish community has been such a significant part of our part of Malden over the years. And, we as a community need to stand up and make clear that anti-Semitism is not acceptable here. And I do also want to note that, the Jewish community has also had a long-standing spot in the Maplewood area in Lebanon Street with the Hebrew Charitable Burying Ground, and a synagogue. So we definitely have had and continue to have a strong Jewish community here in the Maplewood area. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Winslow. Anybody else? Councilor Karen McDonald.
I'm confident that this will have the full support of the council, and I just wanted to request somehow that the city also post this on like the news alerts or the Facebook page so that the message can get out, since the council doesn't have a Facebook page. If I can make that request.
Yep, happy, we'll make sure that gets done. Clerk, Lisa, can you make sure we get that posted, the resolve on the city's webpage or social media? I know the mayor had one. Mayor had a similar statement, I believe, in the Advocate this week. Same idea, so if we could do that, follow the suit. Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you. Fully in support of this, and, you know, I think it's been very concerning over the last couple of years that we have seen such increasing in political violence in our community, not our community, but in our nation. It's really impacted every community. It shakes every household, and I think having a statement like this is strong and I think needs to be followed up with real action, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you and our community members to make sure that we are protecting every member of our community. You know, marginalized groups need to stick together and make sure that never again. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor O'Malley. Anybody else? I would just say from my perspective, certainly a lot of rich Jewish roots in this community. And certainly we've seen a revigoration, I think, of certain temples, which is great to see. Any house of worship growing. And we don't have to look that far, not even political statements being made and anti-Semitic. There's a couple famous athletes over the last couple of weeks that have lost millions of dollars, and rightly so, for some of the acts that they've said and refusing to apologize. So I don't mind seeing that happen, because they did the right thing, those two companies, by doing that. So unfortunately, it is becoming more recent, and I think it's good that the statement was put out there, so I appreciate it, Councilor. So, on anybody else? I just want to make sure I don't assume. Okay. On Councilor Hayes' motion to pass the resolve, all those in favor? All those opposed? Unanimous? Ayes have it. Congratulations. Next order of business. Resolve is passed.
Paper 454-22, resolved that the mayor be authorized to apply for grants and execute documents required to effect planned renovations to Kerstead Park located at 635 Eastern Ave, including any deeds, instruments, and contracts relating thereto, and that actions taken prior to this vote will be ratified and confirmed, and that the mayor be authorized to file and accept grants from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for improvements to Kerstead Park. Whereas Kerstead Park is a community-wide asset in Malden, and improvements to this 1.6-acre park are a city priority, as evidenced in the most recent open space and recreation plan update. And whereas the Kerstead Park Playground Improvement Project will greatly enhance Kerstead Park, increase usage, create an accessible and inclusive playground, and improve the baseball diamond. And whereas specific improvements to Kerstead Park Playground Improvement Project include a fully accessible playground, increased tree cover, refurbishments to the baseball diamond, and improved walking paths. And whereas the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs is offering reimbursable grants to cities and towns to support the preservation and restoration of urban parks throughout the Parkland Acquisition and Renovations for Community Grant Park Program. And whereas the Kerstead Park Playground Improvement Project will cost $2.2 million, and the city intends to use or seek funds from its ARPA allocation, Community Development Block Grants funds, and Malden Community Preservation Committee funds. And whereas in anticipation of the listed grant reimbursement programs, the city appropriates the total cost of the project subject to the execution of the grant agreements before the city actually obtains the appropriate amount. Now therefore be it resolved, number one, that the mayor be and hereby authorized to file and accept grants from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and two, that the mayor be and is hereby authorized to take such other actions as are necessary to carry out the terms, purposes, and conditions of the grant to be administered by the Malden Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development, and that the mayor be and hereby authorized to execute any deeds, instruments, and/or contracts to effectuate the purposes herein, and that all actions taken to effectuate the purpose of this order through the date of its passage and hereby ratified and affirmed, and that the Kearstead Park is hereby dedicated as protected open space under Mass General Law, Chapter 45, Section 14, and such dedication will be included on the park deed, and that the order shall take effect upon passage.
So Counselor Simley is not here for the resolve, so Counselor Seeker's motion, seconded by Counselor Murphy, to pass the resolve. I know, I was gonna ask, you wanna wait for that? We can, Counselor Winslow, you have a question?
No, I just want to talk about the project.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Alex Pratt come up too.
So, okay, yeah, so at some point, I just want to say.
Do you wanna discuss it now, or you wanna wait till Alex speaks?
No, I mean, if Alex wants to say something, and I just want to speak in support of it, that's all.
So Alex, I didn't know if you wanna come up before the resolve was hopefully passed, but we can do it now. So, Alex, if you could just come forward, we all know you, but just for the record. I gotta turn your mic on, Alex, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Alex Pratt, Community Development Director, City of Malden. Good to see you all. This is a routine resolution in front of you. Essentially what this does is it authorizes us to accept the grant that we've already been awarded. This is language that the state has asked us to present in front of you, that they would like to see the city adopt no later than December 1st, and we've cleared it by our finance team, and they're comfortable with the language.
Okay, so stick around for some questions. Counsel Winslow, you had your light on first, so
Yeah, no, I'm just very pleased, and thank you, Alex, and the whole Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development team for putting together the grant application for the park program. I mean, this is very much was what was envisioned when, Councilor Anderson and I were working on this and had a series of 3 committee meetings, and I'm very happy to see that Councilor Simonelli has taken up the ball as well, and it's very exciting. I mean, one of the things we talked about in the committee meetings was Kearstead is one of those parks that we go by so often but really don't notice. And part of this playground project in particular is to really make this more of a destination playground that people will really notice, and also provide, great, a very accessible playground as well. So I think it's very exciting, and it'll really activate a park that's very much overlooked. And if you've been down there, the playground equipment is broken up, and hardly anybody plays on it. So I think this is a really cool thing, and I think ultimately the other goal is to connect Lincoln Common, Tartikoff, Kearstead, Roosevelt, and Salemwood School with the Willow Street Greenway. That's another thing. So it's very, this is a key linchpin, but this is really the concern that Councilor Anderson and I had worked with the public through that set of meetings. So very exciting to know it's coming to fruition. Thank you, Alex. Great. Fully supportive.
thank you, Counsel Winslow. Anybody else before we pass the resolve? I got one question, Alex. I thought the skate park was included. Is it?
The skate park is at Tartikoff, not Kearstead. So
That's
during the
right.
master planning phase, it was the 2 that were done together, but now that we're in the execution phase, it's 2 different projects.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you for that correction. Any questions for Alex now that we have him? Okay, Alex, looks like you got off easy. Anything
you.
else you want to give us, or just?
I'm going to cut my losses.
All
Thank you
right,
very much.
good. Thanks, Alex, appreciate it. So on Counselor Seeker's motion to pass the resolve, seconded by Counselor Murphy, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, resolves passed. Thank you. Next order of business.
Paper 367-22, order be ordained that Section 9.20.040, Standards and Regulations for Commercial Waste of the Mass Municipal Code be amended by adding a new section, 9.20.040C1E, to include no dumpster shall be placed on the public way, including for purpose of pickup by the service provider.
Counselor Crowe for the paper.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a paper that we enrolled a couple of weeks ago, so, again, very straightforward that no dumpsters shall be placed on the public way. So make a motion to ordain.
Okay, any questions?
Second.
Okay, there's a bunch of seconds there, so I'll go with Counselor O'Malley. So on Counselor Crowe's motion to ordain, seconded by Counselor O'Malley, clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
O'Malley. Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow. Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Carries 9-0.
The ordinance is ordained. Nice work. Next order of business.
Paper 368-22, order be it ordained that Section 11.08, Streets and Sidewalks of the MCC be amended by adding 11.08.200 to address markings on the public way.
Counselor Crowe for the paper.
Again, this is a paper we enrolled a couple of weeks ago. I'm really holding people accountable to take up some of the markings that you see on the streets for some road work. So the motion to ordain.
Questions for the counselor? I was going to say chairwoman of ordinance, but questions? Okay, do I have a second? Counselor Seeker. On Counselor Crow's motion to ordain, seconded by Counselor Seeker, clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes. Yes. Condon. Yes. Crowe.
Yes.
McDonald. Murphy. Yes. O'Malley. Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow. Yes. Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Carries 9-0.
Paper is ordained. Next order of business.
Paper 455-22, communication from the Committee of the Future of Maplewood Square. The Committee of the Future of Maplewood Square has nominated Bonita McAllister of 26 George Street, Ward 6, to be appointed to the committee.
Counselor Winslow, you had anything to speak? You just want to, okay, you got it, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think the procedure we used in the past, the resolve that created the committee just gave the deference to the council president to make the appointment. So we just request that the council president make that on the record, that appointment.
Yeah, Counselor Crowe remembers that. She went on a committee without asking anybody.
Okay,
We had to change the rules.
Okay.
So on Counselor Winslow's motion to place the communication on file, seconded by Counselor McDonald. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Items placed on file, and welcome Bonita to the committee. Next order of business.
Paper 462-22, communication. Planning Board to whom is referred papers 286-22 and 315-22 have considered the same at the joint public hearing on Planning Board and Rules and Ordinance Committee on November 9. Present the following recommendations.
On Counselor Crowe? Counselor Crowe? On Counselor Crow's, Counselor Crow's motion to place the communication on file? I gotta turn your mic on, don't I?
I think we received the.
Oh, I'm sorry, to receive the committee report. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Counselor Crowe for the committee.
So we did last Wednesday had the joint, the hearing, the public hearing. We do have Michelle Romero if people do have questions. So this is just receiving the communication. I think all the councils got those communications. So the next one is the order. It's the paper by which to make the changes. So don't we have to receive paper 286 of 22?
We did.
No, all together. Well, actually, so in difference to Councilor Linehan, who really did a lot of work on these, and Councilor Simonelli, so I would like to make a motion that we table these. I do think sometimes we send these things back to committee, and unlike the primary use, we have to figure out what should be fit there, what doesn't fit there. I think this is straightforward, and I would, again, like to table it for 2 weeks so that we can have that debate right here on the floor in front of the TV, so.
Okay. Counsel Seeker made the motion to second the table. Any discussion? Counsel Winslow, is your light still on?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Table motion takes precedent, but Counsel Seeker, you want to speak? Or you just second the table? Okay. Okay, any discussion on the table motion? I see none, hear none. So on Counsel Crow's motion to table
286.
paper let me make sure I get this right.
28622.
286
Yep.
dash 22?
Yep.
We could take these all together because we want to do the same thing for 315.
You want to take them together? For the other?
If we're gonna table them both.
We're good.
So it's 286
And 315.
And
Where's
315
315 on this? Hold on one second.
on page 6.
315, okay, I'm just following along. So we have a tabling motion for paper 286-22 and paper 315-22. Counsel Seeker, you tabling the second one as well?
Yep.
Okay, discussion on the tabling motions? Okay, seeing none and hearing none. On Council Crow's motion to table paper 286-22 and paper 315-22, seconded by Councilor Seeker. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes.
Yes.
Condon. Yes. Crow.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
O'Malley. Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow. Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Both papers are tabled. Next order of business.
You could do them all.
Take a peek. So we have a committee report. We've received the committee reports. Committee report, paper 456-22, committee report license petitions 254, 408, 410, 411, 412. The Standing Committee on License, to whom was referred the following papers. Having considered the same, make the following report that these papers be reported out favorably to the full City Council.
You want to read these all at once?
We'll receive the
Because they're all the same, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so when council, we got to receive the committee report first. When council Seeker's motion, receive the committee report. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Councilor Seeker for the committee. You want to read the papers? You want to do them individually, or we'll do them all at once, Council Seeker?
The clerk can read them all at once.
'Cause they're all-
They are all renewals.
They're all renewals and they're all,
We had compliance in a couple of weeks ago into the License Committee meeting, and there are no issues or complaints for any of the following petitions. So after he reads them, I make a motion to grant the petitions.
all right, for the audience out there just following along, I know there's some people probably taking some diligent notes there. So what I mentioned earlier in the process was sending all the papers to licensing to do the due diligence and having our compliance people go and look at it, make sure everything in there is adequate, and make sure the taxes are paid up and permit fees are paid up to date. This is the back end of that process, where essentially all that's been completed, and now there's 5 licenses that will be granted based on this council's vote. So this is the last part of that process annually. So the clerk can read those 5.
Paper 254-22, lodging house license, Millertone LLC of 52 Maple Street, 8 units as a renewal. Class 2 license for Auto Tech 2, Inc. of 1236 Eastern Ave, renewal, 5 cars. Class 2 license for Jordan Motors, DBA Malden Auto Sales of 147 Ferry Street, renewal, it's a 25 cars. Class 2 license for Hub Starters and Alterations, Inc. of 172 Broadway, 4 cars, it's a renewal. Class 2 license for Rio Grande Auto Group Corp. DBA Dealer 1 Motors of 77 Broadway, renewal, 48 cars.
We didn't see Rio Grande. Am I seeing things?
Oh, not Rio Auto. I'm seeing things.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't reading the wrong docket here. Okay. Any questions? On Council Seeker's motion to grant the petitions, all those in favor? Seconded by Council Condon, all those in favor? All those opposed? Petitions are granted. Next order of business. Babe, you going to read Rio Grande again?
Paper 457-22, committee report. The Standing Committee on Rules and Ordinance, to whom was referred paper 18-21, having considered the same, make the following report, that paper 1821 be placed on file and the City Council enact the following ordinance. Be it ordained that Malden City Council in the code of the City of Malden, MCC Title 10, Public Peace, Safety, and General Welfare is hereby amended by adding Chapter 20, Wetlands Protection.
So I know Councilor Winslow did a lot of work on this, so I'll open it up for the committee report, Councilor Crowe, and then I'll send it over to Councilor Winslow. Is that fair? Okay, so on Councilor Crowe's motion to receive the committee report, seconded by Councilor Condon, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Councilor Crowe, do you want to speak first, or you want Councilor Winslow? Okay, Councilor Winslow for the paper.
Yeah, and I'll also defer to, eventually to Barbara Murphy. So this is a paper that's been in the works for probably 3 or 4 years now. You know, we had worked on it, and it initially the council took it up and referred it to the Conservation Commission, who reviewed it and sent their comments back to the council that then we sent down to the Rules and Ordinance Committee. The Rules and Ordinance Committee reviewed that, and then we sent that up to the council via our legal department, who was concerned at that time. I think partly was we were down to just basically an attorney and a half, and this, by creating a wetlands ordinance, what that means is that, I mean, under our Conservation Commission decision-making process. If someone appeals a decision of the Conservation Commission, that goes to the Mass DEP, and there's only that appeal process. If we create our own bylaw, then there can be 2 avenues of appeal. So, so there was concern in the legal department back then that there might not, particularly at that moment, have the capacity to deal with the new ordinance, so it sort of was tabled. And then now that we've really restaffed our legal department, I did sit down with Isaac Slavitt, the chair of the Conservation Commission, and Attorney McNaught, and we went through the comments from the legal department, and they actually, just 2 main substantial ones were that one of the concerns was that there's an enforcement provision that would allow the Conservation Commission to have fines for the bylaws. The recommendation was that that amount be reduced from $500 to $300, which we became more consistent with mass law. And then there was at least a clarification under mass law. Rivers have a 25-foot setback in a place like Malden, and it wasn't clear under the initial proposal whether we would be applying that along the Malden River or some other, maybe up to 200-foot setback. So this version that you received just clarifies that along the Malden River, the setback from the river or the top of what's called the unlined canal would be 25 feet, so we're just consistent. So there was concern that we were maybe going beyond the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection and River Protection Act. So those were the comments from legal. So the version that you received today has the comments incorporated from the Conservation Commission and legal, and so that is the draft document of 2022. So I think we've gone through a lot of hoops and review, and Attorney McNaught is okay with this. The Conservation Chair is okay with this, and I think it's, and the other thing that's reassuring is basically this is based on primarily the model ordinance of the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions. So there's that organization even has more depth than we can bring to this. So I'm pretty confident that we've done our due diligence here, and but if anybody has more questions, that's just basically it. We've done a lot of due diligence, but this will make it so that rather than having to go to court when someone violates one of our orders of conditions or the wetlands law, we can issue a fine. So this will give us more kind of, more subtle type of things when minor violations are happening, that we can, the Conservation Commission will have that authority, and we'll have a little more teeth behind our decisions, but there'll be, it'll give us a little bit more ability to enforce rather than having to take everything to court. So that's basically the reason why we're trying to do it.
Just so I'm aware, for my own benefit, Councilor Winslow. So there's the draft I read today was draft 4 on the
Yes.
agenda. Is that the one, I didn't read today, I didn't know there was one
okay.
today, so I apologize. Is draft 4, the one that's on the website, right? That's the one I read today.
Yeah, so draft 4 is the one
Okay.
that is.
We're voting on.
We'd be voting on. So like I say, that, is based on the Mass Association of
Yep.
Conservation Commission model.
Okay,
That's been reviewed by the Concom.
okay.
Rules and Ordinance and Legal. And so that version reflects all the comments from those various bodies. So, I mean, I think it's gone through the review process. So, and like I say, and it just explained the last couple of substantive changes that were made based on legal comments. So that's, what
Defined.
the draft is based on all those comments, so.
Okay, I know a lot of work has been going into that, so great job, Council. We do have some questions. So Council Karen Cologne Hayes.
Thank you. I actually don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you all for the hard work that you did working on this. I love that it's a standard document and that it centralizes everything in one place, which is great, and also gives us tools to use in case someone is violating and not, something that affects our wetlands. So I just want to say thank you. I was on the Friends of the Malden River meeting last night, and I know they're watching. Very excited, hopefully, to see this pass and be done after all these years of hard work. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Councilor Winslow and the Concom. as well as Friends of the Malden River, helping move this forward. Fully in support, we'll be voting in favor of this. One thing I did want to clarify, maybe publicly here, I know in the past the Concom has interpreted the Spot Pond Brook as a resource area that it protects, particularly up by Winter Street and north to the Melrose border. And I just want to confirm that it's the understanding of the council that that wouldn't change. Right now, there's a 25-foot resource area there. I read through this, and it's a little bit of a weird dynamic up there because part of it is unlined, and then part of it is lined with concrete on the sides. It's largely naturalized in areas, but I definitely think it's a resource area that deserves protection. It's currently being protected, at least the way the Concom has interpreted it, and I just wanted to make sure it's clear that it would still be protected. If that's the case, you know, I can wholeheartedly support it. I know we do have the chair of the Concom here today, Isaac Slavic. Would be more than willing to invite him up to speak regarding this particular topic or not. But that's just kind of where I'm at. We're related to the Spot Pond Brook. Thank you.
Yep. So, Council Murphy, then Isaac, if you want to come and say a few words, we'll be more than happy. Okay, what for Isaac, if you want to come up and just Isaac, just state your name and address for the record, even though we know who you are.
Thank you. Isaac Slavitt, 14 Jeleno Street, Chair of the Conservation Commission. I'm so glad that we're talking about this here tonight. It's been a long time in the works, and just want to reiterate a couple points that you all have observed. This is more or less a standard document. I think about 60% or so of the towns and cities in Massachusetts have adopted one. They're all substantially similar to the MACC's model. And the reason for that is kind of customizing and going off in the past has gotten Concoms in hot water. They get overruled. So we're starting from a clean document. And in our view, the two biggest strengths for this ordinance are, one, giving us enforcement tools in between just trying to send letters repeatedly, which often kind of get ignored, and then, you know, taking a homeowner to Superior Court. We really want the same kind of intermediate tools that, you know, the Building Commission has, so that folks get their attention on the matter and we can work together to figure out a reasonable resolution. So enforcement is one, and the other is the river. Right now, there are many parts of the river where we and the Building Commission, you know, this body has done a lot to get more sort of planning and review on that. Right now, there are major parts of the river, the most historically neglected, that we don't have any review for anymore. And this local ordinance takes back that 25-foot riverfront area and lets us gain review back for this historically neglected Malden River.
Okay, questions for Isaac? Well, that's easy, Isaac. You're lucky, huh? All right. Barbara, you want a question?
No, just
Can I just say one thing before I pass it over then? All right, go ahead. You got it. I gave it to you.
well, while Isaac's here, I just wanted to thank him and the entire Concom for everything they do, because this has been a very long process trying to get this done. I remember the first meeting back when Rob DeMarco was there, you know, in working on this particular set of bylaws. It's something that's very much needed. Very happy tonight to support this, to give you the tools that you need to do right by our city, our citizens, and the Malden River, which is just, you know, amazing what you folks have done, what the Friends of the Malden River have done, and Myra has done over the last few years to really bring life back to that body of water. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this. And Councilor Winslow wanted to also thank you. Councilor Winslow has put in a tremendous amount of work on this with the legal department and with Concom. So it's a great product. I hope everyone here tonight will support it, and we'll move forward.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Yeah, Isaac, before you step down, I just want to say, and I know Council Winslow, I remember that meeting was actually the old, the senior library at
Yes.
the senior center, where
I
we
know.
actually started discussion. With COVID, it seems like much longer than it was. But I just want to say, I'll thank Council Winslow once we pass this, but from my perspective, you really have done tremendous work, the entire body, but really leading that committee. It's one of those committees that probably doesn't get the respect and certainly the sexiness of other committees, but your work is certainly profound and for the future of the city, monumental. But not just this project, like every project that we've asked you to be a part of, it's always been, you've taken it from an amateur level to the pro level. I mean, even at the hospital, talking with Prisco to Margin and looking at all the water inflows we have at the reservoir there and all the other projects that you've really had, just not a reply email, but really great input and depth answers that helped us get, I think, a lot of projects either stopped or upgraded to the way that's better for certainly the community, the residents, but certainly the environment. So I wanted to thank you for that. And it's nice to see you come in the chamber so that residents get to see your face and take a bow for your work on
Thank you, Councilor.
You're welcome. Councilor, who, anybody else got a light on? Councilor Hayes, do you have your light on?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Anybody else? Councilor O'Malley.
No, I was going to say a second.
Oh, okay. Councilor Woods, do you have anything else to say?
No, that's all.
All right, great work, Councilor. So on Councilor O'Malley's motion to a roll, seconded by Councilor Murphy. No.
Is the opposite.
Oh, you made the motion to a roll, I'm sorry. Councilor Crow's motion to a roll, seconded by Councilor O'Malley. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes. Condon.
Yes.
Crow.
Thanks, Isaac.
McDonald. Yes. Murphy.
Yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Carries 9-0.
Perfect.
Motion.
Congratulations, Councilor Winslow.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules for the purposes of ordaining.
On Councilor? Okay, on Councilor O'Malley's motion to suspend docket rules for the purpose of ordaining, seconded by Councilor Seeker. Clerk will call the roll. This is to, no, suspend the rules. This is suspend the rules, and then we ordain. This is a motion to suspend the rules.
Cologne Hayes. Yes. Condon. Yes. Crow. Yes. McDonald. Yes. Murphy. Yes. O'Malley.
Yes.
Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow.
Yes.
Spatafora carries 9-0.
Motion to ordain.
On Councilor Murphy's motion today, seconded by Councilor Murphy. Clerk will call the roll to ordain.
Cologne Hayes. Yes. Condon. Yes. Crow. Yes. McDonald. Yes. Murphy.
Yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Seeker.
Yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. So the paper is enrolled and ordained. Congratulations. Next order of business.
Docket is clear.
Docket is clear. Personal privilege, personal privilege? No lights? Come on. Councilor McDonald.
I would just like to remind everyone that Malden Community Electricity still taking public comments. Time is running out, people, to get your voice counted in our beautiful public record on this fantastic opportunity for our city. It's going to be amazing and all sorts of good things. You can go to maldencommunityelectricity.com through November 18th of this week to submit your public comment. And the city's been posting about this on social media and answering questions. The mayor and I recorded an informational video that has been circulating on Urban Media Arts. So we're just really hoping to get lots of good public support so that we can file this. There will be an order on the next council agenda, hopefully, so that we can approve that filing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councilor McDonald. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Ms.
See, the problem is, I want everybody to realize, on the screen, it only cuts out half the name. So when I see an M, I don't know if it's Murphy or McDonald. I gotta make the screen bigger. Actually, I just figured out how to
Both
do it.
Ward 5, yes.
Councilor Murphy.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I'm not sure exactly, actually, I do know exactly what year it was that I went to the first Malden Medford football game, but I'm not going to say because then people might think I'm old.
With their
But
leather helmets.
I do want to say, they didn't wear leather helmets, but let me tell you, I have my old Pep Club shirt, sweatshirt, and it's seen better days, but I just wanted to say good luck to the Malden High School football team, the cheerleaders, and as we all say, go Malden, beat Medford, right? So let's take that 135th trophy home, so.
Thank you. Councilor Karen Cologne Hayes.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm really glad that it's not on Thanksgiving this year. I've never been able to see this, so I'm excited. This will be my first game. I'm usually traveling home to New York on Thanksgiving to see the family, so I'm really excited about this. But I also want to let people know that there is, the Malden Run Club is having a fun run, wobble before you gobble. That's what that says? Yes, okay. Wobble before you gobble. So it's a run before Thanksgiving, and it's a 5K fun run, so you can walk it. There's no timing involved or anything like that. It starts at 10 a.m. You can sign up online at the Malden Run Club, and it's a really inexpensive, actually, fee. It's $15, and that all goes to Bread of Life. So if you want to show up there, it's on 85 Summer Street, and there's also a kids run, 9:30 a.m., the Kids Dash. So go online and hopefully support that, and again, it all goes to Bread of Life. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Winslow.
Yeah, I want to wish, well, obviously, go Malden, beat Medford, and then also hope everybody enjoys a wonderful Thanksgiving with their family or friends, whoever you choose to celebrate the holiday there. So I do want to, we should all also acknowledge the Native Americans who came before the time there, and that were part of the initial tradition of that Thanksgiving. Just also coming up after Thanksgiving, if you haven't done enough running or eating, there's a couple, I guess the Malden Little League is having a bingo night on the 26th, as well as the Malden High School Alumni Association is having their annual spaghetti dinner after Thanksgiving as well. So a couple events coming up there, so good. Everybody enjoy your weekend, and then do your running. And just if you haven't done enough running, we also now, I thank John Alessi, we have a bicycle rack out in front of City Hall finally. So I know we had called for that a few years ago. We actually have one. So after Thanksgiving, everybody's got to come and ride either to City Hall or take a blue bike. So, all right, thank you. Paul, no.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to, since it's Thanksgiving next week, I totally forgot it. It snuck up on me like crazy. I've been battling the common cold for the last couple weeks. Apparently, the common cold these days lasts weeks, not just a few days, but weeks. Some days I wake up feeling great, then some days I wake up feeling like this. But I just wanted to, let everybody know that the Bread of Life is hosting the annual Thanksgiving Day dinner next Thursday. Councilor Spatafora and I are once again donating turkeys to them, and we need about 65 people to cook those turkeys. So if anybody is available next week to help us cook the Thanksgiving dinner for the Bread of Life dinner on Thursday, you can pick a turkey up at the Bread of Life this Tuesday, 11/22, from 12 to 5 at the food pantry at 109 Madison Street. We just need you to cook it. You don't need to take it apart. It just needs to be cooked, and then you can drop it off on Wednesday at Malden High between 4 and 7. So we just need people to use their ovens. So if anybody is willing to cook a turkey or two maybe, then you can pick it up again on Tuesday, 11/22, from 12 to 5 at the Bread of Life, 109 Madison Street. Thank you. Happy Turkey Day.
Thank you. Wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, because we won't be able to see them. We won't be on camera next week. I'm really happy to hear about the new bike rack, and I want to thank John Alessi from whatever the MRA is called now. Strategic Office of something. Yep. OSPCD. Really, that's great. I know that was one of the last things from the Municipal Building Committee that we were able to kind of get done. Another great announcement for the employees of City Hall. There's actually a new dedicated prayer room and lactation room on the third floor, just across from the OSPCD office. So that's another thing that I know the Municipal Building Committee had kind of like the last kind of check mark that we needed to accomplish. Looking forward to also accomplishing language access in City Hall and in city buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Hayes, your light on again, or is it me?
No. Oh, no.
Okay, I just want to make sure, maybe you forgot something, that's fine. So I will just repeat, first of all, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you have a good time with your friends and your family. It's always a good day to reflect on that, especially the last couple of years. Also want to wish all the Malden teams good luck on Thanksgiving. I embarrassingly enough, don't remember who Malden Catholic plays. I think they changed it, and Mystic Valley, the Volca a little iffy on because there's a bunch of cities, but good luck at all your football games. Want to remind people that for the Malden Warming Center, there's a community informational meeting on the 21st of November at the First Church of the Nazarene, which is at 529 Eastern Ave, at 7 p.m. So if you're interested in donating or volunteering your time, that's an informational session. I believe they start December 1st is when the Warming Center opens up. And on Councilors Seeker's plea for people to help cook turkeys or food, just want to say, too, that the dinner, Don't Eat Alone, is from 12 to 2. That's at Malden High. That's the Ferry Street exit. If anybody can make it, please come by. And if you can't make it and you want to have a meal delivered or a meal prepared and delivered, they do that, too. You can call 781-397-0404. The other plea I will ask to residents is we're always in need of empty boxes to deliver. I complained about the logistics of the mail delivery for so long that they actually gave me the job. So Maria Louise and myself will be coordinating all those deliveries. We've been doing it for so long. So I went out and bought some boxes, but more boxes would be greatly appreciated to help the delivery drivers. And then finally, I went to what I thought was an anniversary party this year, this weekend, but I was hoodwinked, as they say. I want to congratulate Councilor, and I believe I'm going to have your nameplate changed because it's legal now. So it's Councilor Sika got married after a long engagement. So Councilor Burbaum, congratulations on finally getting married after that long engagement. Was it 29 years? Can I embarrass you?
We got engaged in 1999.
Was it, okay, do the math. Is it 29 years?
It was, I think it was 23.
23. So for all those ladies out there who are engaged, there's a long way to go. But I want to congratulate Councilor Sika on getting married. Congratulations, Councilor Sika. Can we get a nameplate that says Councilor Burbaum, please? Thank you. And with that, it hyphenated, yes. On Councilor Sika's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Condon. All those in favor? All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.